really in thinking about triggers, campaigns, and goals, you're able to set up some pretty dynamic, marketing automation. But just kind of thinking what is possible. Is it a page visit? Is it, for a goal or a trigger? Is it something they did? Is it something they bought? Is it something they signed up for? Hey, what's up? This is Jason Drone. Today we're going to talk about goals as it relates to marketing automation, not necessarily goals as in lifestyle choices and where you want to be in 5 years. All right, so marketing automation goals. There's basically as we covered in a couple of previous videos, there's basically three pieces to a marketing automation campaign. The first is a trigger. So what happens in order to add them into a campaign? The second is the campaign. So what happens in the campaign to then move somebody along like a buying arc or a buyer's journey, really. So the emails, texts, phone calls, all that stuff that goes out. The logic that happens, the task management that happens to your own internal team. And then the last piece is the goal. So goals are really pretty interesting because what happens is if you have a campaign, let's say, that has 3 texts and 7 emails to go out, when somebody takes the desired action, your desired action, then you don't want them to continue receiving those text messages and emails. So what you do is you have to set up a goal. And the goal is, like, we use them all the time, like, so a webinar promo sequence, let's say. So we set up a webinar promo sequence. They go through, they get email 1, email 2, email 3, email 4. Then we have a goal at the end. And the goal is the webinar sign up. Because obviously those emails, we're trying to get them to do something. We're trying to get them to sign up for a webinar. As soon as that sign up happens, then we move them into like a webinar replay sequence. So whether they sign up on day 1 or whether they sign up on day 4, then that goal fires, they move into the replay sequence, and then they continue getting the 5 or 6 emails in the replay sequence. If they purchase, the goal fires, they move into the buyer sequence. So that's why goals are important as they relate to automation, because you always want your visitor, you always want your customer, your prospect to be doing the next thing. Now, that goal is pretty easy. Like if they sign up for webinar replay, if they buy a product, they're added to a new list, then that's when the goal fires. Now, one that's not quite so easy, shopping cart abandonment. So what you're doing is you're saying, if somebody hits this page and they don't buy, then send them an email 30 minutes later. So a little bit more difficult, a little bit more tricky, because then when they purchase, then it takes them off of that list. The same is true with like a web page visit. So if somebody visits this web page, then the goal happens. Now think about that. Like for instance, let's say you're doing an evergreen multi-video launch sequence, like a Jeff Walker product style launch sequence. So what happens there is, you have 3 emails usually. So it's like 3 emails promoting video 1, 3 emails promoting video 2, 3 emails promoting video 3, and then like 6 emails promoting the end or the webinar or whatever. So you have a series of emails that promote each piece. Well, there's 2 ways you can actually fire that goal. So sequence 1, if somebody hits that page, then goal is satisfied. You got that person to the page. Now, and then they can bounce to the next sequence down. The problem there is you don't know if they watched the video. So that's kind of the issue, is maybe they hit the page, but now with like Safari and Google and some browsers don't play audio, some browsers they start the video without the audio, some of them start the audio, some of them now it's you just kind of play it safe and just have the play button, you know what I mean? So who actually knows whether they watch the video? There are some video companies that have APIs that you can tie into a goal. So you can say, all right, like Wistia, for example. So if somebody watched more than 50% or 75% of a listed video, then have the API trigger into and add it as a goal. That's completely possible. It's doable. So that gives you a little bit better idea of whether somebody did what you needed them to do, which was watch the video. But what you don't want is to send somebody 3 emails when they already watched video 1. What ideally you want to move them to the next campaign as soon as they click over to the page. So it's kind of another example of a goal that ends up being a little tricky. Another goal is like a calendar appointment. So if calendar appointment is set by contact record, then goal happens, move them to the next campaign. So really, in thinking about triggers, campaigns, and goals, you're able to set up some pretty dynamic marketing automation. But just kind of thinking what is possible. Is it a page visit? Is it for a goal or a trigger? Is it something they did? Is it something they bought? Is it something they signed up for? And then what happens in the middle to actually help them do that thing? You know what I mean? So if you'd like to talk about marketing campaigns, any of it, if you'd like to talk about Axis, set up a demo, do an action plan call, work through your own business, your own marketing, then just click the button below this video, sign up for a demo call, or around this video I should say. Sign up for a demo call. Totally happy, myself, my team, we're happy to spend 60 minutes on the phone with you, go through your business, figure out what's going on, and if something works out, then it works out, and if not, that's totally cool. And we'll talk to you soon. All right, thanks. Bye.